Hi, good day. Welcome back to our class in Biochemistry Laboratory. Today, I will be demonstrating to you an experiment on blood. And the purpose of this experiment is to determine the different constituents of the blood and to differentiate oxyhemoglobin from reduced hemoglobin. For the first part of the experiment, we have a general test for the blood. And the general test applied for the blood is the benzidine test. So we're going to add 1 drop of the blood into this 100 ml of water to dilute the blood. I am using here the pig's blood. From the pig's blood, I'm going to get 1 drop of it and then place it into 100 ml of water. So this is now the diluted blood, and we're going to get 2 ml from this diluted blood and put it into the test tube. Then we are going to add 6 ml of the benzidine solution to this 2 ml of the diluted blood. This is the benzidine. And we're going to add to this the hydrogen peroxide. And I want you to observe what happens. This is the hydrogen peroxide solution. Observe what happens to the color. The next part of the experiment is to test the blood constituents. In here, we're going to test the presence of the chlorides, the phosphates, the carbohydrates in the blood, and the iron in the blood. So we're going to use again 2 ml of the blood. Then we will add it with 25 ml of distilled water. And a half. Then we are going to heat this over the flame until it boils. Once it boils, we're going to add it with 1 to 2 drops of the acetic acid. And we are going to continue this boiling. Then we're going to remove this out from the flame. We will cool this for a while and filter it. So we have here the filtrate and we have here the residue. We will set aside the residue for the test for iron. So with the filtrate, we're going to divide this into 3 parts. One part will be submitted for the test for chlorides, the other part will be for the test for phosphates, and the other one is for the test of carbohydrates. So we will use 1 ml of the filtrate to be tested for chlorides. We will acidify this with nitric acid. So when we say acidify, we're going to add the acetic acid until the point that the blue litmus paper will just turn red. So I have here the blue litmus paper. I'm going to place this down. And I will add this with the nitric acid. After adding this with the nitric acid, I'm going to add this with the silver nitrate solution. I want you to observe what happens. Then we're going to submit another part of this filtrate to phosphate test. To this filtrate, we're going to acidify this with nitric acid again. Then we are going to add to this 4 ml of the ammonium molybdate. This is the ammonium molybdate. Observe what happens. Then we're going to get again another part of the filtrate and be tested with the Benedict's test for the presence of the carbohydrates. Then we're going to add to this 4 drops of the Benedict's reagent. This is the Benedict's reagent. And we will place this into the water bath. And we will observe what happens to the color. Observe what happens. The next test is the test for the presence of iron in the blood. We're going to use this residue which we set a while ago. We're going to transfer this into the evaporating dish and we're going to heat this. We're going to heat this until it gets burned. So this is already the burned residue, and we're going to cool this a little bit and add hydrochloric acid into it. Then to this burned residue, we're going to add 2 to 3 ml of the hydrochloric acid solution. I'm going to transfer the dissolved residue into the test tube. And I'm going to add to this the potassium thiocyanate. This is the potassium thiocyanate. We'll add to this 3 to 4 drops. I want you to observe. Observe what happens. And for the last test that we are going to apply to the blood is the test for oxyhemoglobin and the reduced hemoglobin. So we will use 2 ml of the blood. And we're going to add to this 5 ml of water. We're going to shake this in order to aerate the mixture, meaning we're going to allow the air to get in. And I want you to observe what's the color of the blood. Then let us divide this into 2 so that the other part will be submitted to the reduced hemoglobin. Then I'm going to prepare here the reagent wherein there is the Stokes reagent and the ammonium hydroxide. So this is the Stokes reagent. This is the ammonium hydroxide. I'm going to use 2 ml of the Stokes reagent. Then I'm going to add to the Stokes reagent ammonium hydroxide until the precipitate that is formed will be dissolved. Then, with this mixture of the Stokes reagent and the ammonium hydroxide, I'm going to add this reagent to the second half of the oxygenated hemoglobin. And I want you to compare the two. This is now the reduced hemoglobin, while this was the oxyhemoglobin. Observe. So I have done performing the experiment. What I would like you to do is you're going to write all the observations that you have made and answer all the questions given in the lab guide. And kindly write a formal report about the experiment. That would be all for today. This is your teacher, Professor Nisitas Ruiz of Holy Name University.